Hi, I'm Gabriel Quak. Join me as I share my football journey. I started at a very young age. My father played a huge influence. I think he was the one who got me started into the sports. He himself is a sports person, big football fan, Arsenal fan, and I think I always watches match with him. And from there was where my interest grew, fell in love with the sport, and slowly as I grew older, tried the game, went to parks, have a kick about, and I think that's how it grew on me. I think I was lucky to be part of the very successful era in Singapore football, when it was still known as the Tiger Cup, watching in the old Kallang Stadium. I think it was fantastic, 60,000 fans. So, players I really liked back then. You have Indra, we have the foreign talents back then like Agu and all. So I think that was really special. I really like Indra. And back then, Amri, Sharil, they were still young. We all know Alam Shah period. We have Ridwan on the flanks. So I think that was a great period for Singapore football. At that period, I was really drafted into the NFA 15. So they were actually training. Most of them were in the Young Lions squad back then. So they are always training nearby, under ready at Jalan Besar Stadium. I was at Christchurch just next door. So time to time, you will bump into them, and it feels like, oh, you meet your idols, like somebody you see from afar at the pitch. Now you are, crossing paths, at times training together after. So I think it was like, the Arsenal stars are like far away, but these are all, we are just, together. So I think it kind of like give you that motivation. Probably you call it like, probably you want to be like them, to play, to be playing in front of 60,000 fans one day. Because I was one of those 60,000 queuing up for tickets. So actually, I have to thank my youth coach back then, Kadeya. Yeah, I think he was the one who sort of convinced them that, come, let's give this boy a chance to give it a shot. Because I think they were like any typical, Chinese parents back then who wasn't really supportive. They wanted me to put studies more as a priority. But I think Kade saw a talent in me. He saw potential, and he kind of convinced them that, okay, he assured them that he will try to keep me on track, strike a balance. So he really went to great extent off the pitch, like, catering tuition class, making sure we are not skipping school kind of thing. And in fact, a lot of my school meetings with parents, when I there were like negative things, like they called in the teachers, the parents. My mom turned up with my coach. So they thought he was my dad and kind of thing. So I think they saw this, they saw he was really genuine, the commitment from him. And I think they were won over by Kade. So I think slowly they start to support me. And I think honestly, the parents and the family support was very important for me in my growth. Because, as a young boy, you wouldn't want to be like playing football, but at the back, like, you need to do things behind their back. So slowly when they sent me to training, prepare food, these kind of little things was what that really kept me going and gave me that extra thing. So I think that really parent support is really very important. Of course, being the minority it always puts me in the spotlight, I'm sure. And initially when I first started out, of course it wasn't easy, at times being the outcast, having certain issues to fit in, but I felt that I didn't take too long to, overcome this barrier, what you call it, kind of thing, because coming out from the minority in the football scene, and back then my parents wasn't very supportive kind of thing, so it wasn't easy. And being in the under 15 team as well, there wasn't much Chinese footballer as well. I was probably one of the only 2 or 3. So of course when you go to trainings and all, naturally they will speak in their language. So I try to fit in, like, trying to engage with them, to blend in, because I think this is the minimum I should do, try to adapt. So I try to pick up the language, try to head out for meals after training, just to have that bond, to be accepted in a way. Because I think initially it was not easy, but as time goes by, I felt that I won them over with my ability, to show them that, kind of thing. And I think right now I'm just glad and happy that, probably I'm one of the face or ambassador, or hopefully I can be an inspiration to the fellow race if they want to take up to the sports. In my early stage of my career, especially once we move on from Young Lions, slowly towards the Lion Show period, I think it was not easy when there was more fans and started really playing more professional. I think there are many things, fans were hurling abuse, kind of thing, like, when sometimes when I get the ball and they were like, hey, just don't lose the ball, we'll do, hey, he's doing it again, kind of thing. Then sometimes you can't help it when you read the newspaper. I think this particular comment, like flattering to deceive kind of thing, it wasn't nice, but back then I was still young, so definitely I was kind of affected kind of thing. But I think now looking back, I thank those moments because it really made me grow, and I think it shaped me up to become a tougher person. It happened to be that I knew her in 2008. It was the year I started as well. So I think she watched me grow, because that was how I went after her as well, as a young boy. I think that was the year where I was caught up to the training with the Brazil team. So that was one of our opening exchange topic, like trying to show off to her, like, hey, look, I was training with Ronaldinho, I kind of thing, like when I was young, like try to impress. So I think that was how I won a date with her, kind of thing. And since then, that's how we grew in 2008. So she really started with me since day one. She saw my rise, my fall. When I went to NS, I couldn't play, my agony when I cried, when I was in Thailand, when I was in lunch, all this. So she oversees everything, and I'm just glad that she was there with me since day one. She knew how is it like being a wife of a footballer. It wasn't easy, the sacrifices, and in fact she was very supportive when the offer from Thailand came. She told me just go for it. She knew how important it was for my career, like how it could propel me further. And honestly, I was really touched. Like I remember her words was, go, but when you go, make sure that make sure like you really make it there. So I knew that when I went there, there was no room for failure. I had to really make her proud. Like her sacrifices back home with the kids, when I went there, it was totally hands off kind of thing. So I think that all my whatever success I have today, it's due to my wife. My time in Thailand with Navy was, honestly, it was fantastic. I think it was another important year for me at a very important stage of my career at 28. Going there alone, it was like stepping out of my comfort zone, my shadows, new environment all by myself to learn and grow, not knowing anybody, a new language, new culture, which I think I adapted well. It gives me a lot of time to myself to think and reflect also, because without my family by my side, going there, not knowing what to expect. And I think that was one of the very important years for me, because it really shaped me up also mentally, and I had a lot of self-reflection to do. So I think, which when I came back now, I'm happy that what I tried to set during that period, it kind of is panning out nicely. Till date, many people speak about 2018 when I was in Thailand. Like they say that was the turning point, the year. But I felt I do agree to a certain extent. But I felt that 2019 was also another important year. I felt it was in fact the year for me, because in 2018 when I went over, I was living into a better league, probably the best league in Southeast Asia. There was a lot of hype, media attention. Everyone was curious, like how would Gabe do there? So when I went there, of course the games are not really shown. You can watch, but it's not easy. And I think people in Singapore could only knew about me via news and all. So even if I played badly, nobody will know. So of course when I come back, naturally people will be thinking like, how has he done there? How has he progressed? So I felt that I want to make sure that whatever I did in 2018, all the good work I've done there is not gone to waste. So 2019 was a difficult year because of what we went through financially with Warriors. So I thought to myself, do I really want to make 2018 or whatever I set for myself go to waste? It was not easy, playing in a team that was, many players were not motivated. Coming to training was like a dragging ourselves. I joined the team. We were not doing well. We lost the first 7 games, and I think we had a new coach coming in, spoke to me wanted to be a leader. So I was appointed captain. I appreciate what the coach has done, the boss. I had their full faith and support. So I think making me the leader of the team, it was like giving me more responsibility, and I had to step up, and the room to grow was I had to grow quickly to lead this team, and I think that was where I thrive. I really do enjoy the pressure. Like, I'm willing to take the blame if the teams don't do well and all, because I want the whole team to function, and like, if I want to be the leading player, the top player, I think all this comes with the pressure and all. Like, you see all top players in the team like Cristiano, Messi, when they do well, the teams do well. So I kind of want to enjoy my football, like this was what I told myself after I came back in Thailand. I say, come these 7 years, let me just enjoy. I want to do something, create a legacy for myself, and this is what I want to achieve. Like, I want to bring the team to success, and yeah, so I'm just happy also this year that I want something for myself, some individual honors, which I think is important for me. Of course, winning the Player of the Year this year, it's a really dream come true. It was my dream when I first started. I think it has not been an easy journey. Many sacrifices and all. It's a lonely job, like what I say. All the more lonely, especially if you want to reach the top, because sometimes you have to do more than others without people seeing it. And I think mine is a very powerful tool. So, looking to my heroes like Muhammad Ali, Cristiano, especially tennis player which I watch. I think all these players, you look at the top tennis player like Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, I think they have this winning mentality that really push them beyond their boundaries, which is my main takeaway for the last couple of years, why I think many people feel that what's the difference between the Gabe 5 years ago and now. I think I kind of adopt their winning mentality, and I think back then probably I had some mental block, like I went into the game, to the boxing ring, not wanting to lose rather than to win. In football terms, it's like I went into the pitch, not that I want to play well, but I was just hoping not to have a bad game. So I think the last 2 years, I adopt their kind of mentality, like we are a champion. For example, in a tennis match, in a Grand Slam, in a 5-setter, it's tough to beat this tough player in a 5-setter because they could easily come back from 2 sets down. So I liken myself to them, where it's all about the mind, the mentality, and I think this is something that I've been lacking in the early stage of my career. So, well, I'm glad that when I push myself, it kind of go beyond whatever boundaries that I have, my mentality, and I think this has really helped me out my game and attain the success I have today. So it's really a dream come true, and I think winning the Player of the Year is putting myself in the history books, which nobody can take away from me. So I think, of course, the success doesn't end here. In fact, work has just started.